Hi there, students. Workload. I'd like to thank RR for this idea for a video. Okay, the workload is the amount of work that you've got to do, normally in a specific time, or the amount of work that's been given to you to do for the day, for example. It's the amount of work that a worker is expected to do. It could also be the amount of work that a machine does in a particular period of time, the number of units of a product that can be made, the workload. It's the amount of work assigned to a worker. So yeah, the workload, the amount that you can handle within a particular time. Now, I've seen very often in companies that as the workload increases, you just get to work harder. Maybe there are 5 of you doing a job and one of you leaves, so 4 people have to do the same workload. And then another one leaves and 3 people have to do the same workload. And the boss is really happy because the work is getting done by less people. But, well, I personally think that's abuse, and the company really needs to take on more staff to cope with the extra workload. Okay, so yeah, the workload, the amount of work that's supposed to be done by a particular person or a particular machine in a period of time. So very often a heavy workload, or maybe over the month of August, my workload decreases quite significantly. Or students, in their first year, the workload is reasonably light, but as they study more and more, the workload tends to increase. So a heavy workload, a light workload, they face increased workloads. And unmanageable, undoable workloads can be a source of stress because you just can't do it. Yes, and I think normally companies are very ambitious about the workload that they give people to do. I think, for example, trainee doctors, the workload on trainee doctors is excessive. This is the amount of work to be done. If you have excessive workload, the thing that you need to do is to learn to delegate part of your workload to somebody else. So the stress and heavy workload on the job is taking its toll. They say that classroom assistants don't always reduce the workload on teachers. The sudden cancellation of the trip was due to a heavy workload. The office staff would have to be increased to deal with the increased workload. Okay, so when the workload gets beyond a reasonable point, you need to just do what you can, do as much as you can. Okay, so excessive workload is one of the key factors in people not wanting to do a job. And giving people an excessive workload is not good. One's workload needs to be manageable. It needs to be something that you can that is actually doable. Because if you're always expected to do more than can physically be done, that's not fair. And yeah, this is the workload, the load, of work, the amount of work that needs to be done. So a person or an organization has a workload. It's the amount of work that they can do. So she had an increased workload this year. We should hire another worker to lighten his workload. He's always complaining about the workload in his job, as he's always struggling to cope with the heavy workload. We try to equalize the workload between everybody, but that's not always possible. Doctors are having to cope with an ever expanding workload. So yeah, the administrative workload is taking up a huge amount of our time. Students find that the workload increases as exams come closer. Okay, so workload is the load of work, the amount of work. 5, informality, use it absolutely anywhere, and I think this is a business word, it's a human resources word, workload. Bye for now.